Yeah, welcome. Nice to have this presentation here. So this is about the V3C platform that we have available on 5G Mac. So it relates to the MPEG standards that are on this slide. So it's the main one, of course, is V3C, visual volumetric video-based coding. So it's like the base volumetric codec in MPEG. And then there is support for the point cloud standard, VPC, for multi-view plus depth and multiplane image standards, MIV. We anticipate that support for the mesh codec that is in development, VDMC, will be added later. And besides V3C, so the name is V3C, but there's also, in the upcoming version, there will be support for haptics, and also the carrier standards and are involved. There's not yet a link with scene description in this implementation, although there is a link between the standards within MPEG. On the right, you can see the roadmap I just updated. This is from, I think, the last meeting, and the names of the numbers. So the staging currently in MPEG, based on what I could find yesterday, is that so for the main standards, there's at least a published version, and there is progress on new editions. For V3C, the edition 4 will have support for VDMC, and edition 3 has support for MIV edition 2. And then haptics has been published here, first edition. This work also relates to 3GP. There is a study, feasibility study for Beyond 2D video, where some of these codecs are studied. So as an example of the formats, you have the, sorry, I need to do something small on my side. 1 second. Yeah. So the point cloud format, I think, is well known as dynamic point cloud. So for every frame, there's a collection of points with positions and colors. It could be also other attributes. And then it's like multiple frames, right? And for multi-view plus depth, I think this format is also well known. So the idea is you have multiple cameras, either depth cameras, or you estimate the depth, and then you're able to do novel view synthesis. So this is quite relating to the previous presentation. That's interesting, I think. And if I could, sorry, yes. So recently, we have been working on adding haptics to this framework. So I honestly don't know all details about haptics because I'm not really into that standard. But I think the concept is that you can, suppose you have this video, for a certain time point, you can trigger some haptic effects, and these can be manually. Currently they are manually authored, but they could also in the future maybe somehow generated. And then these haptic effects can also be encoded and decoded and etc. So it's just another modality. So you have video, you have audio, you can also have haptics, and yeah, especially for XR, that can be really useful to make it more immersive. So in 5G Mac, we have this V3C immersive platform contributed at first by InterDigital and Philips, and we hope that other organizations can also participate in the development of this platform. So it consists of a decoder plugin, so decoder platform that can also it also integrates with Dash. So it has maybe I should get the mouse cursor. It has a Dash client. It can, 1 second, please. So it has a Dash client. There is also, you can also use local files. So then the V2C bitstream can be demultiplexed, and then the video sub-bit streams are sent to the video decoders. And then on the GPU, you have the video frames available as textures, and then the other data, the like camera data and patch data, is then sent to the synthesizers. So there's a synthesizer for each extension of V3C, so for VPC and MRV. Then this can be synthesized, and then recently also haptics can be synthesized. And then this is then, so beside there is this decoder plugin, and then this communicates with the Unity player, and then the Unity player does the rendering. And then currently this is for Windows and Android, and for Android phones and tablets. We also have Eclipse and Philips have a joint demo that works for the MetaQuest 3 headset. Yeah, and then the streaming server that would be that's implementing the Carrot standard that forms the link between V3C and Dash. So in 5G Mac we have this repository for the Unity player, which has the Unity project, and then we have the decoder plugin that has the C++ and the code, and there are currently some binaries, so OpenGL is also used, but that's not directly visible in the source code. And then we recently separated out the test content into a separate repository with the making it easier for other people to add their own content if they want to. And then there are separate content for on-device and on-server assets. So it's quite quick, I would say, to set up a Dash server and stream from that server and see that all this also works. So this slide, yeah. So I think this is a bit head-mounted display is. I mean, it is supported, but not yet really. So this is a bit optimistic. But the idea is that you can use all those. You want to be able to use all those devices. You have this Unity player that communicates with this decoder plugin, and this decoder plugin does not depend on Unity, so it could also be used in other situations where you don't want to use Unity. It can communicate with the network. Then you can have the HTTP server. We tested the HTTP server that is available in 5G Mac, and it also works for the V2C implementation. And then to generate the content, this is something where not much has been done in 5G Mac context so far. But you could capture the video and process it, and you can use MPEG tools to encode it. So maybe this is something for the future to also support tools for encoding. But currently what is offered is decoding and rendering. The Unity player and decoder plugin, they have the 5G Mac public license. And then the V2C content is basically every content item can have its own license based on who provided the content. So currently it's Philips and it's digital, but again, it will be really good to have more content from more sources. And we recently discussed, so after we test version 0.6 a bit more, so yeah, in a few weeks' time, then we can leave early access for these repositories, and then this can become a public implementation. So in the content we currently have is 3 clips, one for each flavor. Like so, we have. Not sure if it plays here. I think this is not a bit video, but so we have one point cloud sequence. We have one multi-view plus depth sequence (MRV), and we have one multi-plane image sequence in MRV. So this is available for 5G Mac members. Currently in early access, will be public. I will not mention all the details of the content, but it has been demonstrated before many times. So the current version that is available is 0.5. And this is the changelog of what we did so far. I think the main point of 0.5 was to improve error handling, because before when like a path was wrong, then it just crashed and you didn't know what to do. And this is much better. So it's much easier to start with 0.5 than with 0.4. And going forward, so to 0.6 is 2 main things are improved. So first, I mentioned already the support for haptics, and the second is the network interface. So to start with haptics, so this is a small illustration of this haptic standard. So there's haptics decoder, and there's two formats. So one is a packeted bit stream, so binary, and the other is a interchange file format based on JSON. Both can be decoded, and I think also by the implementation that we have, both can be decoded. And then there is a haptic synthesizer, which will basically output a waveform, which can then be sent to actuator. And what is implemented, so the standard can do more things like temperature, etc. But what is implemented here is that there's support for vibration with some time and duration and intensity. And this can be or is synchronized with a video. So for instance, if a ball is kicked, then you can feel that when you have the phone in your hand. So that is a nice thing to have, and something that we also demonstrated before. The reason that we can now have this in this release is that the MPEG haptics test model got published. So now we can finally reference it from here. Yeah, so there's also support for the carrier standard, but not yet for streaming of haptics data over Dash. So that could be future work. And then the network interface, this is basically a refactoring of how it was done. So it used to be kind of MPEG Dash centered, but now this has been generalized so that MPEG Dash implementation is living in a plugin, and it would be easier now to add support for things like WebRTC or RTP. And you also hope that maybe other people could contribute this. So this is not a functional change now, but it should make future extensions more possible. And then finally, possible directions. So this is not a promise at all. This is just possible improvements. So as mentioned, it would be good to have more content or better content. Synthesizers can be improved in terms of quality and also frame rate. The decoder plugin support for streaming of haptics data over Dash can be added. Again, RTP, WebRTC. VDMC is something that probably will be added as soon as this is available. Better support for XR. And finally, but certainly not the least important for 5G Mac, is that it may be possible to integrate the V3C project better with the XR and 5G media system project. And also there is this feasibility study in 3GPP where there is work on creating and evaluating bit streams that could be maybe possible to use those bit streams in this project for real-time rendering. That would be interesting to look into. So to use these tools, there is a link to the documentation. There's a link to tutorials, and there appears to be a video library on YouTube. So there's a lot of information out there, and don't hesitate to contact us for more information. Thank you.